fitting for new boots.
Oh boy, it's hot out here in the tropical sun. Oh, how's it going there? It looks like you're coming to see another top 3 video, and this time you want to do Victorian era strategy games? Yeah. Sorry, I just burped from drinking a whole bunch of tequila. That's what we do down here in the tropics. I'm sure you didn't have anything like exploitation in mind, did you? But if you want to scrub your conscience clean, then just make sure to subscribe to the channel, like, and leave a comment down below, and we'll jump into what I consider the top 3 Victorian era strategy games. Now, you guessed it, the first one that I'm looking at is going to be Anno 1800. As you can see here, we are actually in what would be Central or South America, and we've actually started our own little colony of Puerto Color. Now, the idea, of course, being in this game that you want to acquire certain resources that can only be found in specific areas to slowly build your country up. That's right, because we're in the new world now, but if we go back to the old world, you actually start on a very, very small island. Well, it doesn't have to be small, but you start in a place that you have to build up little by little. Now, Maxentia here might look pretty amazing or terrible to you that have actually played the game, but as you can see, I've built up my own navy. I've got a ton of properties here, and I'm actually making a tremendous amount of tax income off these fellow citizens. Again, when you're playing 1800s era Victorian games, you've got to make sure that you're picking the right thing. And I think excuse me, I'm getting my games confused. We'll touch on that one in a bit. Anno 1800 is just beautiful. As you can see, the center of the city is where I've really started to build things up. And if not for my colonies, I mean member states in the New World, I wouldn't have this much stuff. That's right, the good old days where you just got to sit on your ass, put in a bunch of investments, and make ridiculous amount of ROA. I miss him. I was there. I'm 212 years old. Yeah, guys. Yeah. Anyway, I know 1800 is beautiful. And of course, as you can see here, this is our port. There's a naval aspect to the game. The other aspect to the game that I think is perfect, of course, you are playing as a trading company, is you can buy shares on other people's islands. That's right. Once you get enough money, you can actually just go to other people's islands and say, you know what, I'd like to purchase a little bit of your island. Is that okay with you? It's usually not okay with them. But again, it's got everything from exploration to exploitation to good old-fashioned trading and a lot of city building in between. And unlike a lot of other games, you can actually walk around your city. Maybe we'll do that in another Let's Play. I just love that element to the game. I don't know why. It's just really, really cool. I should mention another thing is, yes, there are politics in the game, specifically over control of the press. Now, you could publish the paper as they appear. That's completely up to you. Or you could go ahead and kind of do your own thing and change what exactly is going on. Again, I think it's just an added bonus. There's definitely a warfare bonus to the game, or a warfare element to the game, but it's entirely naval based. And yeah, it doesn't necessarily appeal to me either. I should also mention it's not just South America, Central America, but also Africa and the Antarctic if you wish to buy the DLC. Yeah, absolutely. That's something you can do if you so choose. Again, it is up to you. Now, believe me, I can already see the comments. Why didn't you take Victoria 2? You know, I get it, guys. I want to just support the entire Victoria series. I mean, after all, we're doing Victorian games, strategy games. Victoria is where to go. And of course, if you're playing Victoria 3, there's all sorts of different focuses you can focus on. I think the one that really upsets the Victoria 2 players, and I don't blame them, it's the egalitarian society one. And it's basically that you can start a society with an egalitarian society to get the win ratio necessary to get a victory. But in Victoria 2, it's really more about the economics and the exploitation and all the stuff that actually matters when you're talking about a fucking Victorian war game. I mean, am I crazy here? You know, am I taking crazy pills? That being said, the cool thing about Victoria 3, a lot of great workshop mods that will change the initial settings, which I would recommend. And we're just going to go with one of the powers. In this case, we're going to take Portugal. Gee, I wonder why. Let's jump in and play as Portugal. So the interesting thing here, there is not only just a military focus, of course that's important, but once you develop colonialization, you can go to the what we would call developing nations in this day and age, and you can start to colonize them. Yeah, I said it, you can colonize them. And when I say colonization, it starts with an S and it ends with an Y, and it's not going to end well here with me, so let's just end it right. But there's so much here. I mean, everything from basic buildings, which of course you can build on, and you can see what resources your country excels at having. Everything to the budget, the actual budget, and there's different ways to improve the budget. You can go through, you know, actually decent trade proposals, or you could go for consumption taxes, as you could see, and the political element. Now, right now we're dealing with a monarchy, and our monarch is a child, so things get complicated. But as you unlock different historical focuses, etc., you're going to unlock different political parties, and bringing these parties in, it's going to be a challenge. But what's even going to be even more of a challenge is passing laws. Because let's say we want to go from a monarchy to a parliamentary republic. This is not going to be something that the entirety of the population is going to accept. Some of them may be very much against it. And that's where you've got not just the power block button, but you've got the population button, which gives you an idea of the lower strata, the middle strata, and the upper strata of our society, and really gives you an idea of like everything going on. And if you've got colonies, well, you've got people that are in a much lower strata than the lower strata. I think you know what I'm talking about. But again, if you're playing a Victorian era game, that's exactly what you're looking for. And I would say Victoria 2 probably does this better. One thing about Victoria 3, the tech panel is really nice. Now, of course, you could go for production or military focus, but societal focus, if you want to go for that sort of, you know, politically correct approach, then you go down this route, and you can either go down an economic route or go down a more social route, study realism like a hippie, or pharmaceuticals like a drug addict. But overall, you know, I really like the focuses here. And while everything else is going on and you're trying to accrue international prestige with your government, you could be focusing on the technology. But the political element of this game, and of all Victoria games, it's extremely important, as I would expect with any Victorian era game. That's exactly what I'm looking for. There are a few exceptions, though. And we'll see if we can't find them in number 3 of our best Victorian games. Now, this final choice of mine, it's going to be controversial. I mean, it's not really a Victorian era game. This actual game, Pike and Shot, is set during the 30 Years' War, several hundred years before the Victorian era. However, there are user-made scenarios by an awesome guy, Odin Ethius, including the Battle of East Gondwana, the French breakout at Sedan against the Prussian army, and the Battle of Ulundi. These are only a few of the battles that you can download, but it definitely brings that Victorian feel to it. And I want you guys to see what it looks like. So we're actually going to jump into the Battle of East Gondwana. There's no way I'm going to read the entire text here, but suffice it to say, it is extremely detailed. And once you jump in here, you'll see why I've chosen this. I never like to do a top 3 list and share mods. And I don't really consider this a mod because it's a user-made map that can be downloaded for anybody that has the game. I guess it kind of is a mod, but I think you guys will forgive me once you see what the game has to offer. As you can see, I wouldn't say that the images are beautifully done. They're a bit jagged. Some of them you can see are printed like straight offline, and some are hand-drawn by somebody's like 5-year-old son. But that being said, like, you know, it still gives you kind of a bit of scope in this particular battle. As you can see, you are playing as Lieutenant Colonel Pauline, and we've been left in the charge of the camp here in front of East Gondwana Mountain. For those of you wondering how the battle got its name, yep, that's it. And you can see, guys, the Zulus are going to be approaching from all of these different locations. This battle gets pretty intense, I'm not going to lie. For those of you that are familiar with the Battle of East Gondwana, you'll understand why that's the case. Pardon me. Oh, don't you love getting choked up in the middle of the video? That's always fun. As you can see, though, even the actual units themselves have the proper British colors. Very Victorian looking, if you ask me. And something else to consider here is this game was actually based off a miniatures game. That's why it kind of looks the way it does, why it looks like we're actually moving around painted miniatures, and you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. There was another game I probably would have put on this list even before this, and that is Pride of Nations. It's an old game by Paradox, or excuse me, not by Paradox, by Slytherin Matrix Games, but for some reason, and I know I used to have a copy, I cannot find it in my Steam library. And I'm thinking, since the game was rather controversial, I mean, you could play as the state of Transvaal, for instance, for those of you that want to do your research there. Nonetheless, yeah, I'm thinking that must be why it disappeared, because that had so many Victorian era conflicts, including the Boer War. I guess that could be like slightly after Victorian times. No, I think it's right in there. Somebody will have to check me in the comments there. But it was a really fascinating game, and it was an age odds game. So for those of you that remember Pride of Nations, so that I know I'm not going crazy, let me know in the comments down below that you've played it, because again, I just haven't seen it, no matter where I look. So we're pretty much done, guys, there with the first setup. We don't want to retreat from battle. I'm about to say, where's the end turn button? And I forgot it's directly in the middle. So this game has a residual shooting phase. You could think of it as kind of a dice roll. And again, we're only calling this a Victorian era game because of the fantastic maps it's got in it that are set in the Victorian era. But I don't want to trick anybody. Pike and Shot is very much a 30 Years War game. I just couldn't find anything else to put on this list. And honestly, you know, the Pike and Shot mod with these battles is pretty damn awesome. It doesn't have the scope that the Victoria series does, and it doesn't have even the scope that Anno 1800 does, but if you like just the tactical battle side, I would go with this one. Again, it's a fun one. You're not going to regret it, let's put it that way. But of course, if you're going to want to play this battle out, you're going to want to approach things a little differently than me. You can see the Zulus are arriving over here. And like I said, it's not just the Zulu War, but the Franco-Prussian War. And look at that. That's what I wanted to show you guys. The massive enemies we are up against. In any case, if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see some more going forward, make sure to let me know by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I do want to thank you because on all these top 3 videos, you guys have been absolutely awesome. And I love the support. Please keep it up. It's really what keeps this channel alive and what makes me want to continue making these videos for you. Again, I don't get any additional income from any of these companies for doing these videos. I just want you, the consumer, to, you know, spend your money wisely. We all need a little extra cash these days. You know, things are not going great, let's be honest here. And so I'd like people to, when they're going to buy a game, not to waste their money on something that they're simply not going to end up enjoying or end up playing. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.